In this video we are talking about foldable Apple products, we're talking about Apple Watch Ultra, we're talking about bigger iMacs, so let's just get into it. I'm iCaveDave and I simplify Apple so that everything just works for you, and if you want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours, and apparently occasional drama, like the video, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. And before we get into the iCave Answers questions, which is what this is all about, this is all about answering your questions from the comments. I will be live streaming this evening. We'll be talking about all of the week's biggest news, including obviously the controversy. That is my biggest video of all time, like within 24 hours. It's not something I'm proud of, it's something that I don't want to be having to talk about in future, but it happened. And if you want to get in on the action, iCave Answers, we're going to be doing a live stream this evening. Anyway, straight into your questions. Evan Rogers asks, iCave Answers, is Apple more likely to release a foldable display in an iPhone, a tablet, or a laptop form factor? And I think this question itself demonstrates the issue with foldable devices. They are a solution searching for a problem. I think the technology is very, very clever. I don't think that the foldable phones that we have right now are in any way compelling as a device that people actually want to use. I think they're still not really durable enough. I know that they are a lot more durable, but even things like the Pixel Folds that have just come out, dying basically straight away. We can't just blame it on the fact that it's Google's first foldable. The components that are being used are basically commodity at this point in terms of what's going on behind the scenes, in terms of the technology in the panels. But yeah, they're still falling to pieces. I just don't really see the point. The software still doesn't really take advantage of it. I don't know. If Apple does it, I think it's more likely to be something along the lines of a MacBook kind of size thing, and potentially using Apple Pencil to draw on the bottom surface. But my problem is, you're never going to get, I don't think, to the point where the surface is going to feel like glass. It's still going to feel like that horrible soft plastic, which is basically what Steve Jobs abandoned at the Apple launch event when it was being announced. The versions that they were using then had to be revised because they used that soft plastic that we'd seen in the past, and they were scratching up and getting dents in them really quickly. I've not seen one in person that isn't like rippled, like not even just where the actual fold is, but they tend to ripple all over the place. I'm still not a fan. If Apple does it and they do it well, great, but nobody's done it well as far as I've seen so far. Evan Rogers also asks, iCave Answers, you should buy the new iPhone if. You should not buy the new iPhone if. So I guess just asking, in what circumstances should you? I mean, if you want it, go for your life. If you've got the money to do it and it will make you happy, fine. When do you need to replace your iPhone? I would say it very much depends on your use case. If you have a family and getting good photographs of your kids as they grow up is important to you, then I would be upgrading fairly often. I upgrade every 2 years. That's my cadence for it. So I won't be getting a 15. I will be getting probably a 16. That's the plan right now. It could change, but that's what I've been doing. So I've had the iPhone 4, the iPhone 5, the iPhone 6, the iPhone 7 Plus, and then the iPhone XS, and then the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and now the iPhone 14 Pro. So that's been my cadence. I've done it every 2 years. I don't expect that to change. I think it very much depends. If you are just a light phone user, you want to be able to take the occasional snap. If you're using it for business, 3 to 4 years, absolutely fine. If you're using it purely for your casual thing and you don't really use it as your main camera, 5-6 years, as long as the software is current. They don't really slow down at this point. You're not going to notice performance issues, but the main reason that most people upgrade is to get the better cameras so that they can preserve better memories of their family. And for me, that's the main thing. That's what I use it for majority of the time. So that makes sense to me. Let me know how often you replace your iPhone down in the comments. Lars Anderson asks, iCaveDave, what colours will the iPhone 15 Pro Max come in? And sadly, it seems like it's going to be kind of dull again. So we're going to get, I would assume, silver/white, space grey-ish, gold of some description. Whether it's rose gold or regular gold still remains to be seen, but probably one of those two. And it looks like a kind of cloudy, darkish blue. We were all hoping for red. We were all hoping for, like, I think magenta was bounded around for a little while, but it doesn't look like that's happening. So I guess we're moving on. Real Joseph 123 asks, iCave answers, I agree with your thoughts on the bigger sized iMacs. Yes, it would be nice, but it's not really a popular enough product. My question is that if you were to upgrade your current setup, would you get the Mac Studio, or are you happy with your Mac Mini, assuming you use that for video editing? So I don't actually use the Mac Mini for video editing anymore. That was what I used after the original 2012 iMac, which is the one that's sitting up here. That's a future project that's going to have 4 different operating systems on it. That's the plan. I used the M1 Mac Mini for quite some time, very happy with it, but I also thought that I needed to have a laptop so that I can take it out and about with me. So I'm currently using the M2 MacBook Air. That is my editing setup, that is everything, and then this display in the background. I don't feel like I need to upgrade it. If the Mac Minis with M3 come out at the same time as the first round of M3s, which we're not expecting, because I think that's probably going to wait and refresh with the M3 Pro, because I doubt they'll do one model and then another on that same product line. If it came out with the first round of M3s, I would probably get one for testing, because it does look like there's going to be a significant performance boost this time, and then I would probably sell the M1 Mac Mini that's inside Project 91 and just plug in the M3 one. That's the beauty of that project. It's basically a display with a Mac Mini housing, and there is more stuff coming for that very soon as well. But no, I don't really feel I need the Studio. I've never run into issues with the amount of RAM, which we're going to be talking about unified memory in a minute. So yeah, I don't feel like the need to upgrade at this point. And the Real Joseph 123 asks, iCave answers, do you think that M3 Macs should start with 12 gigs of unified memory? I think 8 gigs is fine, but you know, a lot of people want a little bit more headroom. The storage thing was blown out of proportion, but RAM, in my opinion, is more important. Wondering of your thought. Now, there have been rumours about this 12 gig starting point, which seem to be entirely unfounded. I think it basically started on Twitter because some of the other configurations were going up. I don't see Apple doing it starting at 12 gigs. There are very few systems that start with 12 gigs, and the reason is square numbers. The way that typically stuff scales is you go square. So it's 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32 to 64 to 128 to 256. That tends to be the way it works because of the way that binary numbers work. You know, it's very simple, and also these are typically squarish chips. Now, the suggestion, I guess, would be that they would have it on 2 packages, so they'd have a 4 and an 8 attached. But then it makes a lot more sense because 12s are not commonly made. I know there are some 12 gig chips out there of DRAM, but it's not a common size, and of course Apple needs to be able to get quite a good quantity of this stuff for anything that they do. Obviously iPhones far more, and I think there have been some 12 gig chips made, 12 gig packages made for some phones, but I think this is it's unlikely. I think if they're going to increase the starting point, it's probably going to go to 16, but also I don't feel like they need to. And Team Kinetics Media asks, iCave answers, while replacing my Apple Pencil, I tried on and played with the Apple Watch Ultra. I loved it. How confident are we that a second generation is coming this year? I'm sorely tempted to get one, but buying an Apple toy in August feels wrong. Now, it seems pretty confident that this is going to be coming. We've heard about new colorways, which is going to be that black with the orange button still, and the new chip inside. Other than that, there's not going to be a huge amount of differences. So, if you were to buy one right now, you would probably be more than happy with it. I think the newer chip is not going to make much difference today, but it is going to give it more longevity. So if you can wait for a couple of months, that would be the best plan. And if the new chips come out and you think to yourself, actually, I really don't need that headroom at all, you'll probably be able to pick up a current generation Apple Watch Ultra for a bit of a discount from the third-party retailers. It won't be coming out through Apple any cheaper, I wouldn't have thought, because there's not going to be enough of a difference, but there will certainly be companies that are trying to shift existing stock, and that makes the best sense probably for most people. If you're not thinking of keeping it for like 5 or 10 years, if you're thinking of keeping it for 5 to 7 years probably, then I would hold on and make sure that you get the new one, because it's actually a 3 generations newer chip, because the chip in the Ultra right now has been there for basically 3 years at this point. So thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget that live later, set your reminders right now, and would love to chat with you guys about anything you've got to talk about in the world of tech and Apple. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours? Subscribe and ring the bell.